Hello, my name is Doug and welcome to my 10-week beginner guitar course. So I'm going to take you through 10 weeks, 10 lessons, and you can do 10 minutes a day, and this will get you started with your first guitar. So this is lesson 1. Grab the free ebook and you can follow that through all 10 lessons. So lesson 1, here we go, let's jump in. The first thing about your new guitar is this is the body, pretty self-explanatory. Sound hole, pick guard, this is the neck, headstock, tuning machines, and these are the frets. And you have 6 strings, and then we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the very little string is 1, the low string is 6. And we're going to name those here in a future lesson as well. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. When you place your finger on a note, there's a lot of room here at the quote-unquote fret area. Try to get it right behind the little metal bar, so right up to the metal bar, which is the fret, okay? And we're going to talk more about that too. But so that's one thing with the left hand. With the right hand, you want to, like you're going to use a guitar pick, like you're going to hold a mug and stick the pick in there, the pointy end facing out, and there you go. So pretty self-explanatory. I was going to go through that part quickly because most people will get the gist of that. Okay, now tuning. Before we start, we've got to tune the guitar. So most people will have a tuning app on their phone, or they'll have an electronic tuner like this one here. I like this one. It's from a company called Polytune. So we're going to stick that on the headstock, and it'll either say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on what kind of tuner you have, or it'll tell you the name of the string. So this should be an E. So if you don't have a tuner, you can tune up to that, or there's your tuner. Now, the tuners, this is a slot neck style headstock, so the tuners are facing backwards, as you can see. So if I turn this one towards me, it's going to go down in pitch. It's like a rubber band going this way, right? So, okay, so I'm going to tune that back up until I see an E over here, and the green lights are all on. And the next note will be a B, and then a G, and then a D, and then an A, and then an E. Okay, so that's probably what most people are going to do because you have an electronic tuner. Now, the old school way or the secondary way works well, but you have to know, crucially, that this first note is an E. So if you can get that from a piano, or you can listen to the sound of this, that's pretty much an E, right? So what you want to do is take any finger, maybe your first finger, and you put it on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th fret, which is the 2nd dot, and right behind that little metal bar, and press that note down. If you hit that note, it becomes an A, and that matches the pitch of the next string open, okay? And that's 5th fret. So you do that again, but now put your finger on the 5th string and matches the pitch of the next string down, and those are both Ds. And then you do that on the next string, which is the 4th string, and that's a G, and those are both Gs. And then this time you'll go back to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and those are both Bs. And then you go back to the 5th fret, and those are both Es. Now that's the old school method. Some people call that 5, 5, 5, 4, 5. And that means where you're putting your finger at the 5th fret and then hitting the next string open underneath it. Okay, so now that we're in tune and we've kind of gone over the parts of the guitar, let's learn a couple of chords. I call these easy chords. They're 1-finger chords, pretty easy to get started with. Maybe you don't have calluses, so take maybe the 3rd finger here. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. These are your fingers, 3rd finger, and 1, 2, 3. That's the 3rd fret. And we're going to put on that very high string right behind the actual fret, not on top of it, but just behind it. And what you want to do with your pick is you want to strum the last 4 strings. So this would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So from the 4th string down, and you just strum down. And that's an easy G chord. Okay, if you've never played, that would be your first easy G chord to play, right? Now your first finger, you can put on the first fret of the first string, right behind it, just like that. And same thing, and they call that the easy G7 chord. Okay, and then if you take that same first finger and you go to the second string at the first fret, now this time you've got to arch it up a little bit. So in terms of bringing the elbow forward, see how my wrist is bending? I can bring my elbow in like this instead of, I don't want my arm up like this. I don't want to grip it like a baseball bat. It's going to be down and wrist comes up. And the reason I do that is I want to only press down the second string first fret note. And this time I'll just hit the top 3. And that's an easy C chord. Okay, so once again, this would be easy G, top 4 strings, easy G7, top 4 strings, and then I put it over here in the top 3, and that's the easy G chord. Okay, I do have the accompanying ebook, and you can look through that, and this would be Beginner Guitar Lesson 1, as I said. If you know how to read what's called guitar tablature, or if you read notation, that'd be even better, but the guitar tablature is in there. It's 6 lines, and each line represents one of the strings. So you can see where it'll say 0003, well, that means you put your finger at the 3rd fret. So if you see a number on a line, put your finger there. There's also chord boxes, and it looks like this part of the guitar, and it'll show a little black dot, and that shows you where to put your finger. And I'm sure you might have seen this online if you've looked at any other YouTube videos. So I'm not gonna go too deep into that. You can email me if you need help. Okay, so let's say that's a little too easy for you. Let's learn your first real 2 chords, okay? So the real G chord is the 3rd finger still gonna be there. Now we're gonna take the 2nd finger and we're gonna put it all the way down here on the low string with the 6th string. And then the 1st finger is gonna be on the 5th string, and that's on the 2nd fret, like that, you see? Now this, you have to strum all the strings, and this is the quote-unquote actual G chord. Probably one of the most famous chords you'll ever play on the guitar. Okay, and you can see how my wrist is bent like that. Now if I went like this with my thumb, watch what happens. Not gonna work. Elbow comes up, and my shoulder comes up, it's not good. It's gotta be this. So your posture, you want to sit with a straight back at the edge of your chair, no slouching, and you want to try to bend that wrist forward and get it around the neck. And it might not sound like this to start, it might sound like that, but don't be discouraged, don't give up. You just kind of keep bending that wrist, bring the elbow in like this. Okay? Now, one thing I like to tell my beginner students is if you have a finger down on a note, you can typically share that with another chord. So let's keep that 1st finger there, and we're gonna twist our hand this way a little bit, and you're gonna put your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of what will be known as the 4th string, right there, and this creates E minor. So it's an E with a little M next to it, okay? So if you see just a G, that would be a major chord, and they sound happy, minor chords sound sad, and this is E minor. And you strum all 6 strings. So what we can do is try to practice navigating between those 2 chords. And then you twist around, twist back. Okay, now to practice these 2 chords, I like to do what's called the 1, 2, 3 switch. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, switch, 1, 2, 3, switch, okay? Is your first 2 real chords. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you in this beginner guitar lesson is a little left-hand finger exercise. We call it the 1, 2, 3, 4. Many people have shown this before, but my way is just slightly different. Anywhere you want on the neck, okay? I'm going to start at the 5th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's the 2nd dot. And I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, and I'm going to pick 1 string at a time, and I'm going to put 1 finger down at a time as I pick that. Okay? And as I got all those fingers down, I left them down. So my thumb's not up here, it's around the back of the neck, and my wrist is bent a little bit. And I'm gonna just try to navigate and coordinate plucking the string with the pick, with the down pick, meaning down, down like that, right? Each time. And I leave the fingers down once I get them down, okay, if you can. So try not to let them flop around and come off the strings, okay? Now, if you want more of a challenge, you can go down each string like this. See how only one finger is moving at a time? I like this way better. It's a little harder. A lot of people might do this. See how, but you know, guitar players' fingers don't typically look like that. So you don't want them flopping all over the place. You keep them down when you play them down. Okay, so that is Beginner Guitar Lesson 1. I hope you downloaded the ebook. It's free. Check that out. You can join me on Patreon, you know, for more additional lessons. Just subscribe to the channel or go to my Fingers on the Frets lesson website. There's all kinds of songs and different things on there. So next week, we'll do lesson 2, and we have 10 weeks to get you started in the new year here. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.